All right, hello, Wolfgang. My name is Aidan Scott. My student number, in case you need it, is N014893998. And this is my 12-step program meeting assignment. Tonight, on September the 27th, I went to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting at called Reaching Out. Was an in-person open meeting at Emmanuel United Church in Brampton. Um, uh, this place, it was pretty small, but it was a good experience. If it looks like I'm looking off at something else, then those are just the questions. But yeah, so let's start with question one. Which type of 12-step meeting did I go to? That would be Alcoholics Anonymous. This was for alcoholics, but since it was open, non-alcoholics and observers were welcome, so I was allowed there. And it was from 8 o'clock p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. It's now about 9:40. I just got home from it, and I've had like 30 to 40 minutes to process what I heard there and what I discussed with some of the members after the meeting. How do I feel about the visit and my time there? I feel that it was really, really impactful, and while it was what I expected going in, at the same time, I was kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but really affected about the things that I heard people say there, the things that people talked about, the willingness people had to open up. It's something that I think for me would have been really hard to do, and I imagine for a lot of them it was incredibly hard to do as well. And it must have taken a lot of time and effort, courage for them to be able to open up like they did there. I'm incredibly impressed and emotional, I would say. I was at the time. I've sort of, had time to process it now about what I've heard there, about what people said. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm very happy I went. It was an amazing experience that I don't think I'm ever going to forget in my life, especially a conversation I had with a man there that I won't go into too much detail, but I might talk about that conversation a little bit later on in the video. What stands out to me from the visit/meeting, one thing that stood out to me was, now this isn't like a negative or anything about the meeting. This isn't a criticism about it. It's just something that stood out to me is that everybody who was there, or at least 99% of the people who were there, were over 60 years old, clearly, and white. Like really, really, it was really white meeting. There was only one non-white person there who arrived later on, but that sort of led me to have some thoughts during the meeting about, like, who this type of meeting was directed towards, but those thoughts were quickly disproven when I got to talk to some of them. It's something else that also stood out to me was that this was an incredibly, or not incredibly actually, this was definitely a spiritual, religious meeting. Well, it took place in a church. How, like, they made us do a prayer at the beginning and the end of it. However, this was not forced upon us. It wasn't like you have to be this religion if you want to participate. They weren't forcing it on anyone. They were just saying that this has worked for us. It might work for you, but if it doesn't, you're still completely free to join us. That's pretty much what stood out to me. Based on my experience, would I recommend 12 steps to a young person? Why or why not? I absolutely would. Although I would, if I were to talk to a young person, I would make it clear that this type of thing takes time. This is not a cure to their addiction. This is just to help them find the ability within themselves to overcome this addiction and survive this addiction, as they put it in the meeting. They said that there are no victims, there are no people who, nobody is cured from their addictions, there are simply survivors. Uh, I might not recommend it to this particular meeting, excuse me, to a young person because there are so many older people there. Like I said, over 60 was everybody except for me. Uh, so it might be a little bit harder for them to feel like, for a young person to feel like they're fitting in there or or to open up. But uh, I think maybe if they have a bad history with religion as well, even though I said they don't push it, being in a church and doing prayers might bring up some trauma or bad memories. What expectations did I have about who might attend? I going in, like I said, I thought this was gonna be uh, sorry. I thought it was going to be more diverse than it was, which I'm not happy or unhappy that it was mostly white people, but I was just sort of expecting, especially since this was in Brampton, that there would be more Indian people. Uh, but uh, yeah, I thought there would be some younger people as well. Maybe not my age, but people like maybe in their 30s. But there wasn't. It was all older people. Uh, yeah, this kind of altered my expectations or something assumptions. Uh, but it basically showed me that this takes a really long time to get over this addiction, a really long time. And I think that's very important. And they were doing a good. They were doing. They were trying very hard to make sure that I understood that. Uh, or everyone understood that, but I get the feeling that they were kind of directing those words towards me because I'm a young person and I was there. And I think some of them didn't know that I wasn't an alcoholic, even though I told a lot of them that I was an observer. Anything else I would like to say? I think these people are incredibly courageous. I had a talk with a man after the meeting who poured a lot of wisdom onto me, and I don't think I'm ever going to forget the conversation I had with him for the rest of my life. I think these types of meetings bring out the best in people, even though it may take a long time. Some people have been going to this for years and years and years, and are still alcoholics. And what they're saying is that's okay. This takes time. This isn't a cure for alcoholism. But overall, yes, I I did like this meeting, and I would recommend it in general. I would absolutely recommend 12-step meetings to people who are struggling with addiction. And yeah, that was my experience with this Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Thank you.